Welcome back to MMA Fancast. My name is still Luke Payson, and my guest on the show is still Victor LiPari. Victor LiPari, welcome back on for part 2 of our interview.
Yeah, thank you, man. Sorry, I don't know what happened, but let's keep this ball rolling. It's a fun interview.
Yeah, well, hey, it's a fun interview. Anything can happen, and thanks for being willing to jump back on because of technical issues. Let's switch gears. You've already told us about how you went, how you got interested in MMA, how you competed at Clarion D1 Wrestling for a while, how you got out to Vegas because of your uncle, training at different gyms. You were just talking about the PI and how you train at the PI with UFC fighters and all that. But let's talk about 247 Fighting Championships, Brawl in the Burgh 16. You already talked about the crowd, the shirts, selling the most tickets, fighting super close to your house. Let's get into the fight itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, going to the fight, I felt calm, comfortable. That first round was one of my best performance striking wise. I was out of range on all of his shots. I was touching him up with almost everything I had and everything I threw. Went in for a single leg. He defended a little bit, held him against the cage. I kind of wanted to do that. I like holding people against the cage. Like I'm still controlling the fight here. I didn't feel like I wasn't going to struggle to take him down if he was defending well. So I was like, all right, maybe we'll break off and I'll land some strikes again. That's what I like to do. I don't necessarily shoot for takedowns. I have been shooting a lot to strike. I like to get into these clinch exchanges. I like to strike off these clinches. I'll hold you against the cage. I'll let you defend, and then we'll break off somehow, and I'll land some blows, which was happening. And then he threw I remember he throws a kick. I caught it. I was a little wide on my overhand, which is unfortunate because that's one of the things I do pride myself off of is being able to catch kicks and throw to the chin. A little wide on the overhand, so I stepped in with the inside trip, took him down, and then control. I had 3 minutes of top time. I was pretty comfortable right there, to be honest with you. He had his legs up trying to do like butterfly guard and high guard or whatever, but I had him stacked on his neck. Anytime I really wanted to, like he deflected a couple of them, but there were some big shots that did get through. And anytime that I felt that he was going to kind of push me away, I split his guard and come back in, control. Little tactics that I use here and there, like the whole I'm pushing his head down, covering his mouth, that I'm trying to get him to look the opposite way. So I would have a little elbow in his cheek, a little crossface, kind of like that old school wrestling style stuff and then I would land some bodies. You can tell in the video he didn't like that too much. Then I'd get back up. I'd have his feet high. Looking back at it, I've watched that fight, I don't know, 100 times, man. I was like, I've been hit by bigger and harder hitting guys, and I was like, I've never been rocked like that before, So kudos to Cody on that one. But I had to watch it. I had to see what was going on. But in my head, I was like, I was there. I was comfortable. I was striking. I felt like I should have passed his guard. Looking back at it, but I didn't because I'm thinking, oh man, I have so many fans here. Like I want, in my head, I could pass the guard, go to the ground, probably maybe get a finish. There's no guarantees, obviously, but I was like, let's do another round of this. This was a really good round for me. I'm like, let's give the fans another round. Well, that was my mistake, is going into that second round, that split. I get up, walk back to my cage. I was fine. You see, he stumbled a little bit. I don't know if he was out of breath or if I maybe like dazed him towards the end or whatever, but he stumbled back to his cage a little bit. And we come out. I opened up with a jab, inside leg kick jab. That jab backed him up. He threw kind of, I don't know if it was meant to be a body kick, but kind of went towards the legs. And I stepped in, checked it, threw a body kick myself, kind of lifted him off the feet. And then it went downhill from there. I stepped in hard with a jab. I didn't return it. Got clubbed twice. So he took the chin. I think I took about 9-10 shots before I finally went out, but it is what it is. Things happen. It's the fight game, right? I go in 3-0. I get knocked out. You know who else started their career at 3-0 and got knocked out? Alexander Volkanovski. He's the greatest of all time now. went on to win 25 more. So this isn't gonna set me back at all. And like, I was nowhere near gassed. I didn't push the pace like I normally push the pace. I feel like if I did push that pace, I've been learning to try to be patient, more patient in the fight. And I don't know if that, kind of affected my performance coming in the second round at all. I made my performance look a lot better than it normally does, because normally I'm rushing things, I'm rushing takedowns, I'm throwing punches that really are just grazing forearms, grazing hands, and I'm just overwhelming people. But yeah, this one, I mean, I wasn't tired at all. I wasn't gassing out. My entire camp, I didn't gas out once. And, going into that second round and coming out of it, seeing everybody there worried about me was nice. And, everybody, all my fans stayed until they saw me walk away from the cage. And then when I came back out to talk to people, everybody was gone. I was like, we're still in the main event. Where's everybody at?
They were gone. They were in the casino. They were in the casino. I saw them all later. I was like, where'd everybody go? I figured, the result wasn't what they wanted to see, but it turns out your fans were there to party. They were still partying at the after party and later. So yeah, the main event was incredible though. But
yeah, it was. I mean, I was there. I saw the ending of the main event, and I was like, wow, man, I can't believe like there's nobody like that. Like there's two more fights. Like just stay. Like you stayed this past 5 hours.
yeah.
That was a long night too. That was a long night.
That was a long night. Yeah, it was 5.5. The entire show was 5.5 hours. That counts all the little breaks and the intermission and the walkouts. That's why I was surprised. But when they put it on 20 to the point, they were able to get it all down to just the action, because which is great. All 16 fights. We weren't sure whether or not some of the fights would get cut, but all 16 fights. It was a huge card, 16 fight card, and that's basically a double card. That's a bonus card. For people that don't know, it's pretty average for fights to have 8 to 10.
Right.
So 16 is basically a bonus card. So it will go down right now as the biggest and best show. Obviously, as a fan and as somebody that gets to call the action, I'd love for you to come back out and do it all again, except the result, but do it all again as far as getting the fans there and putting on a fantastic. Your first round was everything you said it was. It was really incredible. And of course, I thought you were a little bit more influenced by Randy Couture than you probably were. You obviously train at his gym, but that wrestler ground and pound, you called it that old school. It very much is. And obviously Randy Couture was one of the guys that used it, but that high stack, you stacking guys. We talked about, you put Cody in uncomfortable positions. Not only were you punching him, all his weight's up on his throat and chest because you picked him up and he's pinned up against the cage. And so obviously it's hats off to him to be able to regroup. But I appreciate you kind of sharing your mindset and your thought pattern. Obviously a disappointing end, but great reference to Alexander the Great Volkanovski, because the reality is I thought you might have, but I was like, no, because I think he lost his second. Spider Silva lost his second or third pro fight. I forget which one it was, but Anderson Silva lost one of his early fights. So I thought you might have been going that direction, but great shout out to the Great.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the GOAT. I mean, I personally think that he beat Islam, but that's not even me being biased, because like originally maybe that was close, maybe he didn't do enough, but then like I watched the fight a couple times because we love to watch our friends fight and we love to watch the greats fight. We love to study their fights, and we were like, no, like Volk definitely won that fight. You go back, you watch it a couple times, you're like, no, he won that fight for sure. But yeah, no, I mean, he won 25 after, and he's the greatest of all time, and so let's stick on that path. Why not? This isn't gonna deter me. I'm still on the same path. We're gonna make some adjustments, and we're gonna go out there and make sure this never happens again.
Well, you truly are an example of a guy that wants to fight with his body, but also his mind. You immediately were trying to figure out, it's the win or learn mindset. And I think that phrase, win or learn, you win if you learn, and you also learn if you don't win. Like it's learning all the time. Like I have met fighters that when they win, they don't learn as much, because they're kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And their holes kind of stay there, to not to make a cheap shot. But that was something that maybe Ronda Rousey kind of showed. There were times her striking Misha Tate had made her striking vulnerable in the fight that went to the third round, which I know Misha still got armbarred, but there was some pretty obvious holes there. But obviously you're winning, and it's not a bad thing to kind of have the mindset of keep going, but it can be sometimes harder to try to fix things when everything's coming up roses. So I think in many ways it's great that you have that learning mindset. When are you headed back to the gym? Do you have a suspension you're waiting on? Because obviously the knockout, you got to kind of make sure you're okay from that.
I'm hoping to get back in there on Monday. But we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. I'm feeling fine right now. Feel great. Like you said, it's a win or learn mindset, and even when I win, I'm still learning. If you look back from my first fight to this fight, I've adapted. I've improved every single time. When this fight happened, once I got my wits about me, we went in the back. I look at my coaches. I said, "What happened? What do we need to fix?" That was it. Immediately said, let's talk about it. Like, I probably wasn't, maybe still was a little dazed, probably so, but like I was like, no, I need to know. We need to get this fixed. This is never happening again, So that's one thing I can guarantee is I'm gonna win from now on. There's no more losing. I mean, there's no more losing. There's always learning. Always learning.
Yeah. And you have great coaches, and obviously that learner's mindset really showed through. And it's a slogan, but I think it's true. Like it's a fight. Anything can happen. This isn't a situation where we've seen fights turn, 2 seconds left in the fight, so it's really impossible for the fight to be over until it's over. You put on an incredible show. Hats off to your opponent, because he got the performance of the night pretty obviously, given what happened.
I'm happy for him. Absolutely. Congratulations, Cody, on that. You deserved it, bud.
But I think that also goes to show that you were putting on the performance of the night until it switched. So it was a great first round for you. Things changed in the second round. I'm honored to have you on to kind of talk about what a lot of fighters wouldn't want to talk about. So I appreciate that. I'd love to have you back on whatever your next fight is. Obviously, I was hearing you're there to coming back to 247 because that's just a selfish thing. I'd love to be able to call your fight again. So hopefully that's on your mindset. They do have a card in July that is going to be huge in Monroeville, and then another one in October. The October one is back at the Meadows.
Yeah, I think the October one is going to be the one for me. That's my birthday month.
Woo!
Come out there, my friends and family, and we get the win this time for sure. So I've already talked to my manager about it. We're going to be in touch with all those guys, Hunter and stuff. So we're going to be in touch with this October card for sure.
Well, as a fan, obviously, and dug in with 247, I'd love to have you come back out for October. I'm glad, obviously, you've got a management team. They do their thing. But if you could come back out to kind of really put on another incredible show. So I appreciate you taking time out. I know this weekend's going to be really exciting for sort of the lighter weights as we look at, we started off at the part one of the show. We started off with kind of the 125 and 135. I don't think it's ever looked better. DJ will always be the best at 25, obviously, but it's one of those things where in some ways he was too good and kept clearing out the division. And we didn't even get to talk about how Figueroa, I think we kind of jumped over Figueroa, and he was great. He was a popular guy, and obviously Moreno beat him, but one of those things where 25 is super exciting. By the time you get there, I think it's just going to be even deeper and more exciting. And that's kind of what you want for a division where people care about it. And it's no shade on DJ, because people should have been excited about DJ. DJ had a flying armbar 10 seconds to go in a 25-minute fight. I mean, what the heck?
DJ is like my idol. He's like one of my idols. He's one of my favorite fighters. I've had the honor to meet him. I've been in touch with him a few times, and like DJ is just like one stand-up guy, stand-up fighter. It blows my mind how he's not more popular as a fighter. He's literally, in my mind, he's definitely top 5 fighters of all. If not 1 or 2, you have John Jones, GSP, Volk, DJ. Man, I mean, there's just he's just such a good fighter, man. It blows my mind that people don't give him the recognition that he needs.
Yeah,
That
and
he
I,
just,
and I think in some ways, and obviously he went kind of publicly with the fact that he didn't do the trash game or the talking or do some of the things that would have brought eyeballs. In one of his, he's got a very entertaining YouTube. I'm sure you've watched it. There's a whole hour-long YouTube video of he and Triple C breaking down their first fight, the one where he knocked him out with knees in the clinch, and then breaking down the second fight. And they're buddies now. They're helping each other train. Yeah, it's incredible. In fact, in one of those, DJ gives Triple C like credit and tips about how to beat, I believe, Aljo. He was talking about kind of at 135 what he could do. So it's always great to see former opponents become buddies and train together. And they're obviously incredible. But he mentioned on one of those that I was watching where one of his defenses, and I forget which because DJ had so many, one of his title defenses, he was playing his video games because he's like a professional video game guy. He was playing his video game tournament, took a break, went, fought for the world title, came back at like 3 a.m. after he was done. And the guys were like, hey, where were you? And because he's still, gaming. He's like, oh, I had to win a world title. It's like, what? Like, I think that's one of the reasons why DJ was never a guy that was going to just focus in. And it's really incredible that he's so talented. But I appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks for making this a two-parter for everybody. Kind of check out both part 1 and part 2. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks so much, Victor, for coming on the show. All the best to you and all your friends and teammates out there in Vegas.
yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, brother. Hopefully you take care, brother.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, you got it, bud. Bye-bye.